Today we're going to be talking about the third video of this series.
I didn't even make it for you.
I'm gonna drink it. People are gonna think that's a cocktail.
Gotcha.
My name is Jordan Tupta. I'm the blogger behind jordanjean.com, where we share about how we make our house a home no matter where the Air Force sends us, the occasional recipe, stuff about upcoming motherhood journey, all the things, our baby journey.
Yep.
A bunch of fun stuff.
And I'm Stephen Tupta. I'm her husband.
Today we're sharing video 3 of this series that we're sharing with you guys, and that is all about money, budgeting, finances. In the last video, we shared about how we create a budget using the app EveryDollar. And then in the first video, we talked about why a budget is important, why we don't believe in debt, how we got out of debt, all that stuff.
Yep.
And then today, we're gonna be sharing just a few tips and tricks, how we stay motivated, habits we like to stick to, some commonly asked questions from you guys, things like that. So let's get into it.
All right, so what we're going to start off talking about is just how to stay motivated on your budget. The biggest thing with having good finances is having a good mental aspect. Probably 80% mental and 20% mathematical if you want to stick to a good budget. So the first thing in order to stay motivated is surrounding yourself with friends and family and just other people who have similar financial goals as you do. It's really true that you take in the personalities of people that you hang out with, and so this is one of the biggest things. If you want to be successful with money, then it's important to hang out with people who have
similar goals.
Yeah, similar goals. The second is having a good accountability partner. If you're married, then you already have a good accountability partner.
Not always.
Not always, that is true, I guess. In our case, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But this is someone...
I'm a pretty good partner.
Yeah. This accountability partner is just someone that you can talk to about money. They should be someone who is good with money, kind of like in that first category. Someone who just will help you along with your journey, make sure you're staying on track.
You can definitely evolve into this, by the way. It's not going to just like, they're not immediately going to be a great accountability partner. You have to learn together, grow together.
Also for staying track, if you're paying off debt and you want to stay motivated, then it's helpful to make some sort of like visual chart, some sort of like diagram that you can track to see how much of the debt you're actually paying off. I know some people, a lot of times they'll kind of draw that like giant thermometer thing and then color it in, shading it all the way to the top when they finally paid off all their debt.
Or like those rings, the paper rings that you can make and hang them and you can cut them. There's all sorts of stuff on Pinterest. There's really great Instagram accounts that you can follow that share really good resources for this as well. One of my friends, Jackie at Sugar and Money, I could get that wrong, but we'll tag the actual IG account name here. She has a resource, a free printable, things like that you guys can use. It's really good to help you visually stay on track with your snowball.
Right. Another thing for helping you stay motivated is just to set small goals and then reward yourself when you do achieve these goals. So for an example, after the first $10,000 of debt that you pay off, you can make that your goal. I just want to pay off the first $10,000. And whenever you do hit that goal, then, you know, it's okay to reward yourself for, you know, making it there.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah, getting started along the way. And these rewards, they don't have to be something giant. It's not like you're going to go spend $2,000 on a vacation because you achieved this little goal.
Yeah, we don't recommend that. Yeah,
something little like, hey, I'm going to treat myself out to eat, going to like Chipotle or something, or
go on an ice cream date, or I don't know.
Going on an ice cream date. We're very food motivated, so we can, go out to places.
The first thing we think of is
reward
food.
ourselves.
Go to a show or a concert or something.
Yeah, go to a concert.
As long as it's like not, you know, you're still able to attack your snowball.
Right.
Reasonable. Let's make it reasonable, people.
Yep. And then the last thing for helping you stay motivated is just to have a nice long-term goal in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
So that's something like, hey, I just want to be out of debt. I want to be completely free of any sort of financial obligations. I just want to be able to, all the money that I make, I want it to, you know, come into my household and then I can spend it however I want to. I don't have to be giving it to banks or other people.
What's our goal, Stephen Tupta?
I think ours is just to be debt free, so we can be financially free. And
we want to have our dream home someday.
Yeah.
That's like that's a big one. We have a couple of goals, but it's really helpful for me, especially to be thinking of this all the time. So I think about these goals. I'm very like future motivated, I would say. And so I think about this dream home or helping other people pay off debt or taking our whole family on a cruise, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think about that cruise all the time. That will happen someday.
Right.
So yeah, it just helps to keep that at the forefront of your mind. And when you're feeling like you're not able to stick to your budget or you're having a hard time doing that, just think of that goal and be like, okay, this is why I'm doing this, because that will help you a lot. Helps me.
Yeah.
A lot. So a big question that we get is, how do you get on the same page with your partner and how do you resolve conflicts about the budget? I think that's like probably the most common question that we get.
Yeah, we get a lot of those.
So Steven and I were very fortunate that when we started listening to Dave Ramsey, there was something that clicked for both of us where it was just kind of like, there's no option but to do this.
Right.
And we didn't really debate it. However, we know that's not the case with quite a few people have problems with this in their marriage, in their relationships. So I think the biggest one is to sit down and really set a goal together. And again, like for us, that's our dream home. That's paying off other people's debts. That's that cruise that we want to take our entire family on someday.
Yeah.
These are things that we talk about very frequently, and we have these goals together. That's the important part. So I would suggest sitting down with your partner and really setting that goal, making it clear. If you need to print out a vision board of that goal, whatever that might be, do that. And that's the first one. And then come to an agreement on what you do with your money, like what you would do with that money if it weren't going towards debt. So for example, a car loan is debt. And so let's say that you have a $400 car payment. You and your partner can sit down and say, what would we do with that money if we had $400 extra in our bank account every month, and agree on what you would do with that money, because that again will give you that picture of, okay, if we just get this paid off faster, then we will have that money and we'll be able to do what we said we wanted to do with it.
Yeah, that can tie into that long-term goal, especially
right.
Thinking about if you don't have debt payments, then what that thing you're looking forward to in the future is.
Yeah, and the big one is to talk about it with each other. I think that's probably should be, I mean, it's all can be encompassed by this, but yeah. The way we suggest doing that is by having monthly budget meetings minimum.
At a minimum.
At a minimum. So sit down every single month, make it a very special time for you guys, make it a priority, and consider it a date. Even if it's at home and you're eating homemade pizza, whatever it might be, make it a priority, and it has to be something that you do a minimum of every single month. Mm-hmm. Steven and I, just to give you guys like a little insight, we talk about this all the time. Again, I think that goes back to having that goal that we were both just like running towards. But we talk about it very frequently about money. So that's just how we do it. But if you guys don't like talking about it that often, then I would still make it a priority to do it at least once a month.
Yep. Make
it special. And agree that going into the conversation that you're going to be respectful no matter what. And I mean, I hope that you would think that in your relationship, but specifically talking about money, I know that it can bring up a lot of heat. So, and not good heat. So, remain respectful of the other person's thoughts and opinions, and come to an agreement before that meeting is over.
Right. Yeah, and in this meeting, a lot of what you're going to be talking about is kind of some of the categories that have more variables, especially when you start getting into that extra spending category like we talked about in our previous video. And it's really just hashing out how much you want to put in those different kind of more lifestyle categories, or if it's something that's more like entertainment or like restaurants and stuff like that. Yeah. You're always going to have your fixed constants like your mortgage, utilities, all that stuff. That's really not debatable. You have to pay that much. But yeah, these budget meetings are really big for talking more about like decorations.
Whatever that person ends up liking, they're going to want to spend more money on that. So the other thing to remember is that there's always going to be one spender and one saver in the relationship, no matter what. You both can be savers, but ultimately one of them is going to be more of a spender than the other one. Right. So there is going to be a little bit of a difference in opinion no matter what, and thoughts on a topic. So you just have to remain respectful. And again, we just can't say it enough that you have to make these budget meetings a priority. Mm-hmm. Kind of something that we think is a good idea to put in a safe net for this is to create categories, a set amount in the budget for each person that is a no questions asked category. So for example, if I want to get a new pair of, I don't know, Lululemon shorts or something that I might not necessarily need, but I want it, or a new pair of shoes, we'll say. Steven, as long as it's within that budget that we agree upon at the meeting, then I can go ahead and get it. And Steven cannot ask questions about it. He cannot say, did you really need that, or judge it, or whatever it might be. It's just a safe amount. However, if you want something beyond that budget, the amount that you agree on, then you're gonna have to save in 1 month and then say, okay, the next month I'm going to use my no questions asked category to spend it the way that I want. And so you have to save up until you have the amount that you need in order to pay for the item that you want.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about that?
No.
Yeah, so basically you have a category that is no questions asked, and you can get whatever you want within that category as long as it's in the budget.
As long as, it's within
that category
amount.
Yeah, so we think that's something really helpful to do because, again, there's gonna be things that you want that if your partner's a stickler, then they're gonna be like, did you really need that, or whatever. And this just creates like a safe place for you to have. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are some really good ideas about how to handle situations with your partner. Some things we just wanna talk about some more are just the habits that are good to stick to. So the first thing, make an important time for that budget meeting every month, making sure by the end of it, everything is set and you're ready to go on for the next month. And then whenever it comes to logging purchases into every dollar, this is something that's really important to get a good habit of doing. Like we talked about in our previous video, kind of the 3 ways that we like to do it is either at the register, whenever you're paying for what you're buying, you go into every dollar and submit that amount. The next thing is, if you don't want to do it right at the register, then whenever you get back into your car, just after paying for something. Then finally, either every night, just going through your bank transactions, or maybe once a week, logging onto your bank account and going through all the transactions and then logging them into every dollar.
Yeah.
That's something that's really important to
the more often, the better.
Right.
For that.
And then finally, one of the most important habits is just being disciplined and saying no. The budget's the budget, and whenever you reach your amount of spending for the month, then it's really just time to say no. And hey, we don't need that now. We'll wait until next month. We'll wait maybe 2 months until we have the money, and then decide to actually buy that item that you want to get.
Yeah. Another thing that you're probably going to have to learn to say no with is friends. And again, this goes back to surrounding yourself with people that have similar financial goals as you. It can be really hard when friends are, they want to go out, they want to have a good time, and we're all for that 100%.
Right.
But there's just going to be times when it just doesn't work with the budget. So you're going to have to, say no, or suggest another option and be like, hey, we would love to have everyone over and cook out together, or everyone bring a dish or whatever it is. Let's play some Jenga, or, I don't know, let's have a game night. It's going to be hard. We can't say that enough. It's really hard, but it's going to benefit you in the long run to do this. And if you get to the point where you're debt free and you're able to just do this freely, it's really the best. It really is.
It really is.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go into some questions that we are commonly asked. The first one is, how do you deal with things in every dollar that are automatically withdrawn? Steven?
Okay, so for things that are automatically withdrawn from your bank account, the best way to put these into every dollar.
What's an example of this?
So an example of this is, well, one, utilities. Things automatically taken out. Also for us, our mortgage is directly taken out from our bank account. Any sort of automatic payments, your cable bill, if you have some sort of subscription, music subscription, or
Netflix.
a gym membership, something like that, those are usually taken out automatically. And they're typically the same day every month, so you should know kind of what days they're taken out, or at least a general idea. And then just checking your bank account frequently, seeing whenever that money is actually taken out of your account, and then from there logging on to every dollar putting the purchase in.
Yeah. So you're going to put a conservative amount in the budget for, like Steven said, you're going to kind of be able to gauge after a few months how much that's going to be. So put a conservative amount in that budget section, and then when it's actually taken out of your account, you're going to go in and input the number that's actually withdrawn from your bank account.
Right.
And at that point, you're probably going to have a difference, even if it's a couple cents, and then you can take that difference that's left over and move it to another category in the budget.
Yep. So yeah, a lot of times people ask us, what do you mean by actually inputting your purchase into every dollar? That's another question we get. So do you want to go ahead and explain that?
Yeah, if you just click on the category that we listed out in the previous video, you just click on the category, and then there's a little check thing at the bottom right, I believe, and then you just put in the amount that was actually spent, and it'll provide the difference for what's remaining in that category.
Yep.
So that's what we need. So for like housing, for decorations, for example, every single time you go and buy decorations, we'll go into the category, and then we'll just input it, and it'll continue to add up and continue to show us less and less money in that category.
Yeah.
The next question, how do you save for Christmas?
Saving Christmas, that's a good one. So the way that we do this is we kind of know how much we're going to spend for Christmas. So
we have a budget.
Yeah, I think ours is like $900 or $1,000. So we take $80 every month, and we just save that, putting into a savings account. And then whenever it comes time for Christmas, we have an extra like $1,000 or so just sitting around in the savings account, and then we'll move that into our checking account, and then we buy our gifts either throughout the year or just in November and December, and we log what gifts that we buy, how much they cost, and then just keep a running tally and keep that under like the $900 bucks.
So we personally save $80 every single month. It's just in our savings category on every dollar. It just says Christmas.
Yep.
$80. And so we just move that into there.
Yeah.
Helpful resources, things that we think are super helpful, nuggets that you guys can take from this video. The first one is Financial Peace University. If you don't know what that is, it is Dave Ramsey's course that he's created that you can go through in order to strive for financial peace. It'll break down everything you could need to know about how to create a budget, how to get out of debt, all of those things. If you're just learning about Dave Ramsey and Financial Peace University or Total Money Makeover, his book, we highly suggest getting your partner on board and going and attending Financial Peace University, because chances are by the time you leave that course, you guys will be on the same page.
Yep. And yeah, when it comes to having people that you're surrounded with who are on the same financial goals as you, this is a great way to get in contact with those people, because they, like you, want to be good with their money. And so
definitely a way to meet new friends that are going to be on the same path that you are on.
Yep. Another resource that's helpful is the book, The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. This was one of his first writings that he came out with, and it just goes through every chapter, the importance of kind of everything we've been talking about, going over a budget, this baby steps, everything. It goes into a lot more detail, and it's really been helpful to us. We both read it.
Yeah.
And
I think we gave ours away. I was just trying to see if we had it.
Yep.
It's gone. The third thing, though, is the Dave Ramsey podcast. If you don't want to spend money purchasing Total Money Makeover, by the way, check your library. That's the great place to get it for free. Yeah. If you don't want to do that, though, you're going to be able to take pretty much all that information from the book from Dave Ramsey's podcast based on the questions that people call in and ask and the way that he answers. He's always going to stick to the thoughts that he has from his book. He literally he never wavers from it. Yeah. And so if you want to just do it for free and kind of understand it in bits and pieces and stuff and put it together yourself, then you can just listen to the podcast that's on your, podcast app on your iPhone or whatever you use on your Android. It's all free. Right. It's called the Dave Ramsey Podcast.
Yeah. Another resource that I really like to use is just my mobile banking app on my iPhone that I have. And I just go into that every month, a few times a month, every week or so, and double check my transactions. It makes it super simple. I always have my phone on me, and so I just spend a few seconds, double check, make sure we're staying on budget, making sure that every dollar is truly up to date, and we're not letting any purchases slip through.
Yeah. The next one is, we've said it before, but to surround yourself with people that have the similar train of thought and goals with their finances. The reason why this is such a helpful resource is, again, because they're going to be someone that you can go to when you need accountability, when you need any advice on money related things. This is just, it's a really big one. It helps us to have friends that know what we're going through and to be able to talk to them about it.
Right. And finally, the last resource, just using different social media things. Pinterest is a good one. Sometimes Instagram, just post from Facebook. Just getting ideas for things like free date nights, DIY projects, things that will just help you save money over the long term. Yeah, and also things going on in your area. So there's usually a lot of fun things you don't actually need to pay for. So you can look up, like, for example, for us, we can look up what's going on in Columbia very easily on Facebook and see all sorts of free events, free concerts, markets. Why am I blanking? Saturday morning. Farmers markets.
Thank you.
Stuff like that.
Stuff like that. So I would just highly suggest utilizing those resources that are there for you, and to just take advantage of those, because the less you spend, the quicker you can get out of debt.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to message me on Instagram at JordyJean, or to comment on one of our video photos. We'll make sure to get those questions answered for you guys. And if there's enough of them, we'll make another video. But for now, that's part 3 of the series, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
We've had a fun time sharing all this with you guys, and hope that you've been able to learn something.
Yeah. Hope it helps. All right. Bye.
See ya.